Hey everyone, Mr. MC here. A lot of you guys are familiar with the Human Comedy playlist, which is a series of mission challenges where you have to use different cars for the 1 hour endurance events. This specific one, the Alsace 1 hour race, uses cars from 1979 or before, and they have to be 460 performance points or under. And there's quite a few cars that are viable for this mission challenge, such as the Chevrolet Camaro and the Honda RA272. However, if you take a look at the top 10 stars, you'll notice that there's the Abarth 595, which, if it's fully stock, has a whopping 30 horsepower. So we're going to go ahead and take it out for a quick ride on this event, where we're quickly going to see that, this car is really slow. And this is getting passed by everyone, and we're not even in turn 1 just yet. However, I will say that its fuel is good enough for the entire race, so there's that, I guess. However, it is so slow that it gets passed by the slowest cars in the race, in which, there goes the Fiat 500, and there goes the Mini Cooper. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and try to make this thing a little bit faster. So what we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and turn this slow car into a cute little demon spawn. So we're going to go ahead and put the engine from the 2020 Honda Civic Type R. And we're going to go ahead and perform an engine swap, as the Abarth does accept the K20 engine swap. This is definitely going to end well. But we still need to install some more things, so we're going to go ahead and put a wide body, front bumper, rear wing, and we're going to go ahead and put a whole bunch of go faster parts on it. And before you know it, we're going to end up with a 432 horsepower Abarth 595. And it's still under 460 pp. So we're going to go ahead and give this car a quick test drive. So we're at Alsace. I turn on fuel and tire wear to try to simulate the race conditions, and right away, this car is really fast, but at the same time, this car is a huge handful to drive, and that's putting it nicely. And you have to be so careful trying to drive this thing around, because this car, its balance gets upset so easily, you'll often find yourself facing the wrong way. This is gonna be a huge pain to deal with. But still, the acceleration is impressive, especially for the 460 performance point range, which is basically gonna make all the other cars irrelevant. So it's basically just gonna be me against the car. And quite obviously, the car is winning. So we are definitely going to need to tune this car, and this car is pretty difficult to tune. It's so difficult to tune that I'm putting a whole bunch of toe angle in, and normally I leave the toe angle at 0 whenever I'm tuning the cars, but because I'm trying to make this car stable, I'm stiffening up the suspension, raising the ride car height, putting a whole bunch of ballast towards the front of the car to try to induce some understeer instead of oversteer, using a whole bunch of toe in to try to make this car stable. And there's going to be quite a bit of trial and error involved with this, because this car reacts a lot to even some of the smaller changes. But I'm going to go ahead and give this car a try in the race itself. So right now I'm not actually going to do the whole hour. I'm just trying to get an idea about how the car handles, and right away see if there's anything that I need to adjust. And the car is still a handful to drive, but it's already doing better than how it was just a few minutes ago. And the good thing is that it can at least pass everyone really quickly, so right away the AI opponents are not going to be a problem unless if I have to overlap them. But we'll worry about the problem when we get there. Right now, all I'm worried about is just trying to get this thing to be drivable. And the other thing is fuel. So I know I'm gonna have to fuel at least one time, hopefully just one time. And the other thing is that I have to try to make a strategy to where I can make this car be able to do 27 laps, because the current record holders are doing 27 laps in the Abarth. But anyways, right now still doing a whole bunch of test runs. So I'm doing 220s, 221s, and while it is fast compared to all the other cars that I've tried this race with, I don't think it's fast enough to be able to do 27 laps. So I went ahead and did a bit more tuning, took it back out to the race, just trying to get this car dialed in, trying to see where I can improve the car. And right now, just by looking at the field, I can tell that the car will be able to do 12 laps before I have to go to the pit stop. So this is the end of lap 2, and there's a little over 10 laps remaining, so I have to pit at the end of lap 12. And this is not going to work because the people that were doing 27 laps, they're probably doing 13 laps before they have to go to the pit stop and then try to run 14 laps. So I have to find a way to adjust the car settings and make sure that the fuel will be able to last at least 13 laps for my first stint. And here I am adjusting the turbo because some of the turbo settings adjust the power and torque curve. So I'm just trying to make this car, I guess, a bit more predictable. But right away, just changing a couple of things has made my car drive a lot faster. So things are already looking up in the right direction. Even adjusting the power output, lowering the ballast, because I realized that even though the ballast towards the front will help the car be a bit more stable, it's still a bunch of weight on the car. So that's going to slow me down. That's going to reduce the fuel economy of the car. So I have to get rid of some ballast. But here in this run, things are looking pretty good. The car is driving pretty well until I hit the curb and end up going upside down. Right, so I'm going to go ahead and adjust a couple more things, but something I was thinking about is like, well, if I'm going to try to go for a top 10 run, I'm going to need to personalize this car quite a bit, because I actually like how this car looks, but I want to make this car mine, if that makes sense. So I'm going to go ahead and paint this car red, and I'm going to change the wording from the Abarth's default livery for it to say Demon Spawn 595, because this car is a demon spawn. It is pretty hard to control, but based on what we've been able to do so far, this car has been becoming more and more controllable, and this car has been showing that it can be really fast. That my VTuber brain rot is showing, so I went ahead and installed the VTuber peeker sticker. It's pretty cute. But anyway, so here is my cute little demon spawn 595. Hopefully things go better from here. But the good thing is that this car has been becoming more and more drivable, and I'm still trying to get used to the car, especially with any big changes that I make to the car settings. So yeah, I will be sliding around a bit or hitting some walls, but even after that, this car was able to get a mid 216, so that's a pretty fast time. And I think I can make this car a bit faster, but I'm also trying to keep in mind that I need to make sure that the fuel economy is going to be good enough to where I can do a 13 lap stint before having to refuel. But I think I can make this car work now, so it is time to go for a full run, which is going to be a bit nerve-wracking because a lot of things can happen, especially with the car deciding to fight me instead. But we're going to go ahead and give this a go. So going to brake before the pit wall on the right ends, and just try to park at the apex, and again just try to get out of this cluster mess of a traffic jam first, and then I can start to think about how I'm going to go about this. And just going to try to really respect the car, because this car is a handful to drive. I have to be really careful with all of my inputs, especially getting back on the throttle, as this car does have a bit of a tendency to oversteer quite a bit, although right there I was understeering, so I need to get that sorted out. But right away, end of lap number 2, getting a 217.0, so 260s are 100% possible, and you can see on the time on the right, the times on the right, where I'm doing constant 217, so things are looking pretty consistent so far. So I think if I can keep it that way, we might be good to go. However, fuel is still an issue. So I'm at the start of lap 10, and I'm definitely not going to have enough fuel to go all the way to the end of lap 13. But it's going to be on lap 11 where the car's starting to step out a bit, and I was getting a bit suspicious about that. But it's right here where the car is going to step out just a little bit too much, and the car is just going to snowball from there, and it's just going to turn me into a Beyblade and just send me into the wall. And that's so much time wasted right there, and that has put the entire run on jeopardy to the point where I started to push a little bit more to try to make up for that time lost. But because I wasn't doing enough fuel saving, I have to pit at the end of lap 12, where I actually want to pit at the end of lap number 13. So gonna go into the pit stop, and luckily the tire wear is at ×1, so I don't have to worry about getting a tire change, but I do need to refuel as the fuel usage rate is ×5. So coming out of the pit stop, it is now lap number 13, and after unfortunately do some fuel saving with the fuel map on the lower right hand corner of the screen to try to make it to the end of lap number 26, hopefully get into lap number 27. But the problem is that by having to get a bit more aggressive with the fuel mapping and doing the short shifting that I already was doing, I'm going to lose quite a bit of time. So I was doing 2:17s, now I'm doing 2:19, so I'm losing about 2 seconds per lap, which is definitely gonna hurt my momentum, and ultimately it's going to seal my fate in not being able to reach lap number 27. And it's such a gut-wrenching feeling, because starting lap number 26, there's not enough time to be able to clear that lap and start lap number 27. So even if I drive as fast as I can, there's just no way that I'll be able to cross the finish line in time to start the holy 27th lap. And just like that, there's no more time. We are now in the final lap, and I was just shy of being able to reach into lap number 27 territory. And it really sucks, because I just spent an hour trying to make this work, and I just fell short. Not being able to fuel safe enough, and the catastrophic mistake when I spun out on the back straight. Yeah, unfortunately, 26 laps, that was all I was able to get. However, what is surprising was that even after that attempt, I was actually able to get into the top 10. But I still want to get the 27 laps. I think it is possible to make it work with my cute little demon spawn. So I'm going to go back in and do a couple more adjustments to the car. So I have to be a bit more conscious about what kind of changes I'm doing to the suspension setting, the ballast, the power, and just trying to get everything sorted out to make the 27 lap run a possibility. It's going to be like this for a while, where I adjust the car settings a bit, take it out for a couple of test runs, go back to the tuning pages and make more adjustments to the car setup, and it's just going to be like that for probably like an hour, another while. I don't even know how much time I spent doing this. But now things are looking up, so now I'm trying to go for the actual run, but I'm going to go ahead and cut the track, and that's going to net me a penalty. So luckily that was within the first 30 seconds, so might as well just restart there. Another run later, I'm going to be a bit of a doofus and understeer onto the grass, so another run ruined. Here, the AI decides that they're going to get in the way and going to throw myself into the wall. And I was doing this run where I was trying to make the 27 lap run work with this run, but that's where I decided, hey, what if I just move the fuel up to just 2 and just leave it there for the entire race? still do my short shifting, and this is where I realized, you know what, I think I may be onto something, because I'm not losing as much time, but I'm able to have just enough fuel to be able to do 13 lap stints, which should make it easier to reach into the 27 lap range. And I went ahead and kept experimenting around with this, because I was thinking, like, okay, I think this is really gonna work. I'm gonna go for it now, and still doing pretty good, getting 216s, and just trying to be careful with how I'm driving the car. Although the car does have a bit of a mind of its own, especially for this corner where the car is just gonna turn just a little bit too much, tap into the wall, and just gonna send me into the wall. And that was 11 minutes into the run. But at this point, I knew I was just so close to making this run work. So I just need to make a couple more settings, and I'm even going to lower the ballast a bit more, which is going to be a bit crazy, because the car will probably try to throw me to the wall a bit more now, because this car is naturally oversteery. But by lowering the ballast, the car should be a bit faster, and I should be able to be a bit more efficient with the fuel. So fuel up at 2, and we're just going to go for it, because I think this is going to be the run where I can make this car run 27 laps and hopefully get at least podium in the top 10 leaderboard. So we're going to go ahead and just fly past everyone, and honestly, the AI cars are the least of my problems. And going into lap number 5, so I'm getting 2:15s. That's great, because that's going to increase the chances of me making the 27 lap run work. If I get 2:16s, that should be just fine as well. Even getting a 2:15.4, so we're flying through this. Things are going great, and the fuel is doing pretty good. And just look at that, 2:15s, 2:16s. We're doing great so far. Fuel is looking good. 13 lap stints should 100% be a possibility. And as long as I keep my head down and just try not to do anything spectacularly stupid, I think we're gonna have this in the bag. So end of lap number 13, I'm gonna go on over to the pit stop and do my one and only fuel stop. So don't need to worry about tire wear. Tire wear rate is at ×1. It's just fuel I need to worry about. And end of lap number 13, we are now at 30 minutes remaining, so it's going to be a bit close, but I think I will be able to make this work. So all I need to do is just try to drive as consistently as possible. Try not to get held up by any of the AI cars, and again, don't do anything stupid. Unfortunately, that's probably easier said than done with this car. But going towards the end of lap number 18, things are okay so far. So I'm getting 2:16, so I think I should still be okay for making the 27 lap run work, but I just need to maintain the consistency. If I can somehow poke back into the 2:15s, then we should be even more golden, but who knows, there's still 18 minutes remaining in the race. A lot of things can happen, both good and bad, so just gonna try to keep my head down and just try to stay focused on this. But we're gonna go into lap number 20, where the car was acting a little bit sketchy, but so far still able to control it, which is fine. But it's gonna be right here where the car is gonna step up just a little bit, and the car is just gonna spin itself out and go straight into the wall. And that's it's just a catastrophic mistake right there, where I just lost so much time. I think there I lost at least 6 seconds. So at this point, my whole run is in jeopardy once again, and I have to try to go a bit faster to try to make up for the time lost. And yeah, just 6 seconds lost from that mistake right there. And then there's the AI cars just getting in the way as well, which is definitely not going to help the cause. And I'm just getting a bit desperate at this point, because I don't know at this point I don't know if I'm even going to be able to make it to the 27th lap. And I'm just hoping that I can make it, because if I don't, then I've wasted a lot more time just to fall short on this attempt. And then again, this AI car is getting in the way, which is definitely not going to help with the cause. And we're going over towards the end of lap number 24, so still getting some 260s in there. But again, if I can poke back into the 215s, then I'd be able to rest a little easier. But we're in the 216s, so at this point I'm just praying that I'll be able to make it into the 27th lap. And at this point, end of lap number 25, I'm going to have just barely enough fuel to do lap number 26. So I don't want to run out just yet. I need to make it into the 27th lap, but by crossing into lap number 26, I have just enough time to be able to complete the lap and enter lap number 27. So at this point, I cannot do anything stupid, and especially with the fuel, I need to make sure that the fuel will last this lap, because if I run out before the lap ends, I'll slow down to a crawl and I'll have to kiss my 27 lap run goodbye. So it's going to be, I think it's going to be around here where I'm going to go ahead and move the fuel map all the way to 6. So now I'm running on lean, because I need to make every drop of fuel just last as long as possible, because at this point I'm basically just running on fumes. And just trying to be careful through here, trying not to make any more mistakes, because even if I spin out, I think that might spell the end of my run. If I run out of fuel, that'll be the end of my run. So I just need to take it nice and easy. Just try not to encourage the car to throw me into a wall again. And just try to go nice and easy through here. Just try not to understeer off into the grass. And yeah, I can see my throttle input is just a bit more careful this time around, because I really don't want to take any chances here. And gonna try to be a bit careful through here. Just try to brake nice and early for this hairpin. Nice and careful getting back on the throttle, and be especially careful through here, because the car can get its balance upset over here. There we go, nicely done. And now all I need to do is to survive the final chicane, and at that point I should be good to go. The fuel is looking like it'll be able to make it to the very end of this lap. There we go, one more corner left. Just try not to hit anything, and there we go. And just like that, I have just enough fuel to cross the line and enter the 27th lap. And now all I need to do is complete this lap. It doesn't even matter if I run out of fuel, because I'll be crawling around and the time is going to make its way to 0. So all I need to do now, just complete the lap, and that's pretty much it. The timer has now hit 0. Lap 27 will be my final lap. At this point I can pretty much just cruise around, but I'm just going to try to get this over with quickly before anything crazy happens, like the game freezing or anything like that. So not going to take chances. And it's going to be right here where I run out of fuel, but instead of slowing down to 0 miles an hour, I'm just going to slow down to 50 miles an hour and just crawl around for the rest of the lap. But at that point it doesn't matter anymore, because I've been able to do what I've been trying to do that entire day and complete 27 laps. Wow. 27 laps in the Demon Spawn Abarth 595. It makes me so happy I was able to get this done. However, what was a really neat thing was that when I went to go check the ranking board, I was now number 1. So that's a pretty amazing feeling right there. I have no idea how long that will stay there for, but I will enjoy my time being number 1. Now, do I think this car can be improved on? I think so. It's probably possible to take off even more, or even take off all the ballast and somehow make it work even better. Maybe it's possible to be able to drive this car even faster and somehow poke into lap number 28. But what I will do, I'm going to leave this tune here. Feel free to use it for this event or any other event. Feel free to build upon it or do whatever you want with it. If you try doing this event, hopefully you're able to make 27 laps work if you're trying to go for that. If you're trying to go for 28 laps, hopefully it can work out for you as well, or serve as a basis and just build upon that. But yeah, this took a lot of time to try to figure out, and I mean, I had fun, but it was also really frustrating trying to figure this out. So yeah, feel free to use this tune however you wish. But that's going to be it for me. I also want to give a shout out to Fossil Field, because I was watching one of his videos and that's where I started to get inspired on trying to tackle this mission challenge with the Demon Spawn 595 Abarth. It was frustrating, but it was also a really nice challenge to try to tackle. But if you like this video, if you found this video entertaining enough, feel free to press the like and subscribe button. But other than that, the Demon Spawn 595 Abarth and I are going to sign off now. So this is Mr. MCA, the world's most OK player, and I'll see you in the next video.